Every physical ailment has an emotional root. In this episode, we discuss physical ailments and the energetic cause behind them. Welcome to the Abundance Hack Show, where we are inspiring you to ditch the outdated beliefs, release the blocks, and fully embrace your sovereignty so you can confidently expand to allow more love, joy, and aligned success in your life. I am Niajae, your conscious accountability partner, reminding you that abundance is your birthright. Hey M&Ms, thank you for tuning in to the Abundance Hack Show. What are you manifesting in your life today? Can we have a serious conversation today? So I have been doing sound therapy for some time now. And the more that I research, the more that I learn, the more that I do sessions and see the emotions that come up in sessions, the more it really blows my mind how powerful our bodies are, how much our bodies are communicating to us. And if we really get back into our body and connect with our intuition, how we could potentially avoid some of the serious illnesses that are running rampant today. I feel like not only is mental and emotional health at an all-time low, but also physical health. And people are experiencing more and more autoimmune diseases and gut issues and things that weren't huge when I was younger, for example. So I think that we have a lot going on these days. We have a lot more technology. We're around tons of devices. Like, let's just think about how many devices we have in our house. I have an Alexa in every single room. I have a laptop. I actually have two laptops and a desktop and a cell phone and an iPad. And everything is streaming from Wi-Fi. So there's all of this EMF that we're experiencing. We're inundated with information. So with all of this, we're not giving our bodies time to rest and reset. And we're not allowing our bodies to get back into a place of harmony to heal themselves, which is what sound therapy does. Sound therapy places your body back into that parasympathetic state so it can rest and rejuvenate and reset. So, what I want to talk about in this episode is the top 10 physical ailments and their energetic causes. So, when I actually looked up this list, when I looked at the list, I'm like, okay, there's a couple of things that I want to touch on that are not on this list. So, I'm going to read to you the top 10 physical ailments in the United States, and then we're going to focus on six of them and the energetic cause. Well, actually, they're not six of the 10. I'm focusing on six things that are really big right now. And then we'll do a little bit of a deep dive, and I'll just give you the resource that I'm finding this information from. It's a really thick book. So if you're tuning in on iTunes or iHeartRadio and you're not watching the video, I'm showing a huge, actually, it's two huge books. So these two books are the basis for Louise Hay's work. So Louise Hay is a super amazing medical intuitive, and she is just absolutely amazing. So she has a book. I think her most popular book is Heal Your Body, or You Could Heal Your Body, something like that. But she's absolutely amazing. And she actually received a lot of her information from these books. So I went to the source and ordered these books, and they're super duper expensive, but it was totally worth it. So it's basically an encyclopedia of the body, and every single physical ailment that you can think of, you look in the index, you go to the page, and it shows you the energetic cause of the physical ailment. Now, I will say, I read reviews on this book, and some people were like, oh, this book is negative, blah, 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 blah. So I can understand how this may not resonate with some people, because a lot of times our blocks are subconscious and we're not ready to face our own shit, basically. We're not ready to face our shadows. So if you have a problem that you are not ready to deal with or handle, you may not even realize this is a problem, because a lot of our issues and toxic thought patterns are subconscious. So, the beautiful thing about sound therapy is it helps you peel those layers back and raise your level of consciousness so you have a heightened sense of self awareness. When I started going to sound baths as a client, I literally felt the layers peeling away. I was able to, it gives you an eagle eye view of yourself and your situation so you can step out of your ego. You can step out of that sense of pride and resentment or resistance to the lessons that the universe are trying to teach you. So, when I go through these, if you're like, oh no, I don't know about that, allow yourself to just kind of sit with it. And I'm not saying you have any of these physical ailments, but in the event you do, sometimes it's not easy to hear our stuff, you know? It's not always easy to hear our stuff. So I just want you to know, and if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate because sometimes we're not ready for the messages. But if it does resonate, just know that our bodies are so powerful and we are designed to heal ourselves. Our bodies are designed to heal ourselves. So, what I want to do in my sound therapy work is just unlock that healer inside of you, inside of each and every one of you, because we are designed to heal ourselves. So, that's my goal for this episode, is to just really show you how our mental and emotional health directly impacts our physical health. And this book is amazing. And I'll just tell you, like, I'm so in tune to my body right now, especially playing the sound bowls on a daily basis. Like every little thing that I feel, I'm like, ooh, what is that? So like I'll have like an ache in my elbow, like something so simple like that, like not even a pain, just like a little ache in my elbow. And I'm like, where did that come from? What does this mean? And I'll go to the book and I'll be like, this damn book, because it's so good that it's so on point. Literally, the last time I looked up an elbow ache, and I'm laughing because it's true. It's one of those like it's funny because it's true. So I looked up like achy elbow. So I mean elbow ache or elbow problems, like whatever it was that I looked up, and it said that you need patience. You're not allowing things to unfold how they're meant to unfold, like you're being impatient. And I'm like, this damn book. But it's so good because, like, an elbow ache is kind of minor, being impatient is kind of minor, but when you get into some of the more serious diseases and illnesses and physical ailments, the problem, a lot of time the root cause of the problem is a lot more serious. So that's what I want to dive into this episode. So, according to USA Today, the top 10 health conditions that have the greatest impact on Americans' quality of life. Number one is hypertension. So that's basically high blood pressure. Number two is major depression. Number three is high cholesterol. Number four is goodness, I can't say it. Coronary. Oh my goodness, artery disease. That is a tongue twister. Coronary artery disease. Oh my goodness. Tongue twister. Okay. Number five is type 2 diabetes. Number six is substance use disorder. So that's medication or toxins. Number seven is alcohol use disorder. Number eight is chronic. Oh my goodness. Here's another one that obstructive. Okay. I can't read my handwriting on this one. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. I have to be honest, I don't know what that is. Number nine is psychotic disorder. Number 10 is Crohn's disease. I see a lot of commercials for Crohn's disease. So these are the top 10 physical ailments that are impacting the quality of life in Americans. So the six that I want to go over today, number one is arthritis. I know arthritis is not on this list, but I hear people, especially young people, complain about arthritis. Now, I know like my great grandmother actually had arthritis, but I found that people in my age group now are complaining about arthritis, which is really interesting to me. So I'm like, I looked it up recently because I'm like, what would cause someone young to have arthritis? And I actually had a client who has arthritis in her hands, and I did a session, and she's like, my hands has felt, oh, that's, you know what? I had three people, after three people mentioned it. It was a client in a private session, a client in a group session, and then someone just in passing mentioned it recently. So I was like, this keeps coming up. Let me look up arthritis. So I was really interested in that. Number two is autoimmune disorder. So autoimmune disease is something else that I feel like is rampant right now. And a lot of people are like, doctors don't really know, you know, what to tell me kind of thing. So I'm like, what is going on with this? We have to figure this out. Number three is infertility. So I know a lot of women that have been struggling to conceive or to keep a baby or going through IVF. So I think that infertility is at an all-time high. Part of me feels like maybe it just wasn't spoken about as much in the past, but maybe now with social media, people are a lot more open about their lives. Number four, I want to discuss today is hypertension, which is the high blood pressure. So that's on the list of the top 10. Number five is the type 2 diabetes, which is on the list. And then number six is alcohol disorder, because I do sound therapy at a rehab facility. So obviously, this one is something that I research a lot and I deal with a lot at the rehab facility, trying to come up with meditations and sound therapy recordings and certain frequencies with the sound bowls that will help them. So those are the six that I want to dive into. So let's get into it. So, number one is arthritis. Now, what I'm reading to you is a quick snippet of what the book says. So, some of them go into really long detail, but I'm just giving like a quick overview. And if there's anything specific that you want me to dive deeper into, or you have a question about something, definitely reach out to me. The fastest way is on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram. So you can DM me at Niajae, Niajae, is the fastest way to get in contact with me. All right. So number one is arthritis. The book says, and some of them I shifted some of the words to where it speaks better than like how it is in the book. So there were certain terms that I wasn't familiar with that I had to Google like the meaning. And so I replaced some of it. So it's not verbatim for every single one, just to kind of put it out there. Okay, number one is arthritis. They feel unloved with a resentful bitterness and are judgmental towards others. They are not allowing themselves to develop their full potential due to self distrust, leading to severe constraints. They are suffering from a lot of suppressed resentment, which tends to result in a passive aggressive behavior. They're self suppressing and tend to take the wind out of people's sail. So, with arthritis, there is something internal that they don't feel loved. And as a result, they have this resentment and bitterness and judgment towards others, and they're not allowing themselves to reach their full potential because they don't trust themselves. And usually, not trusting yourself comes from a place of unworthiness. And if you don't feel loved, usually you don't feel worthy of that love. And even if you are loved, because you're in that state of bitterness, you're not even allowing yourself to see that you are loved, because we all have a lens of how we see the world. So if we feel unloved, we only see validation of that that unlovingness. So a constant state of this will result in arthritis. So if you're feeling arthritis, it's an opportunity for you to really look at, do I feel loved? Quick disclaimer: if any of this brings up any deep rooted issues, any heavy emotions, if it triggers anything, please speak to your therapist. If you don't have a therapist, definitely reach out to me and I can refer you to someone. So, the last thing I want to do is trigger someone or trigger some type of feeling that someone wasn't ready to deal with. So, if this brings anything up, please consult with a therapist, a counselor, a coach, anyone that's trauma informed. And we all have trauma, but how we deal with trauma, I think, is the key. Do we have a healthy way to navigate the heavy emotions that we have? So I just wanted to have that quick disclaimer. The next one is autoimmune disorder. They have a great deal of sorrow, defeat seated grief and despair, and are chronically crying on the inside. They feel overwhelmed and are unable to handle the requirements of life. It is a result of having carried the world on their shoulders all their life, starting with their dysfunctional family. So, really quick, I will say most of the descriptions say it's a result from a dysfunctional family. So many of our problems start with our parents. I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but it's true. Most of our problems are from our childhood because when you're between the ages of, I mean, some people say 8 and 10, 6 and 12, that's when you're being imprinted with who you're going to be as an adult. So if you have an absent mom, an absent dad, if you suffered any type of severe trauma, even if it's not severe trauma, because it could be something so simple as you were teased at school and you went home crying and your parents said, suck it up, like be a man or don't be a crybaby, even though that's something that someone may say is small, in an impressionable child, that could have been a huge thing that now gives you stage fright, or like you are afraid to express yourself to people. Like it could result in so many different things. So it's really, really important just to kind of look at how you cope or handle stress and trauma, because that is going to allow you to release it in a healthy manner so it doesn't turn into a physical ailment. And I believe that when you can address the root cause of the physical ailment, a lot of the symptoms start to heal. When we release that emotion, that trapped emotion, our bodies will naturally start to heal themselves. So I know that the more severe the physical ailment, obviously, the more severe the emotional distress. So it's not just the easy, quick 1, 2, 3, go meditate or do a sound therapy session, or even like a talk therapy session and it's all going to be over. It's really peeling those layers back to get to the root cause and establishing a healthy lifestyle, because you can't just do the work. Some people think, oh, I did the shadow work and now it's over. It's a continuous effort to adapt a healthy lifestyle. So when life challenges you, you're not re triggered and you have a healthy thought pattern because now you have healthy habits. All right. So the next one is infertility. So the book says they are in over their head. They are experiencing great fear and resistance to the process of life. There is a considerable amount of tension, anxiety, emotional conflict, and traumatic shock involved in their life history. They're heavily into competence anxiety, self distress, and self inhibition, meaning a feeling that makes one self conscious and unable to act in a relaxed and natural way. So basically, just a lot of fear, a lot of resistance, a lot of heavy emotions because they've experienced trauma in their past and they haven't fully healed from it, which is causing them not to trust themselves enough to bring another child into the world. That's how I understand this. They don't trust themselves because they had to deal with so much trauma and so much heaviness that there's a tiny part of them that is afraid to raise a child or bring a child into the world that may experience some of the same heaviness or trauma that they did. So that's how I understand this. And obviously, everyone's going to have different perspectives, but that is how I understand that one. The next one is hypertension, so high blood pressure. They have a feeling of being threatened in some vague but very important high stakes manner with a resulting intense sense of endangerment. There is stress and conflict in their situation. It is a result of a long-standing emotional problem that hasn't been worked out. A deep resentment over the past that is eating at them. They come from an unpredictably violating dysfunctional family. So, like I said, that one, the dysfunctional family is in a lot of them. So, the way that I understand this is they have some issues in their root chakra. So, their basic needs seem threatened, their safety, their home, their security seems threatened. And anytime your basic needs are threatened, that is going to cause stress, and stress causes high blood pressure. So it makes perfect sense to me. So there's a little bit more because it's a large section, but there were a few other sentences that really stood out to me. So perfection expecting, they have a profoundly frightening dread of failure that was produced by their parents, making them an ego extension. They are an achieveaholic. I feel like I'm an achieveaholic, so I need to make sure I keep a handle on that. And constantly seeking validation from their parents, seeking validation from others, and disappointing themselves in the process. So, people who grew up with super critical parents, like myself, are always seeking that parental validation. And when you have a parent who never told you, great job, I'm proud of you, that's amazing, and they always found a way to say you should have done better, it causes this energy of constantly seeking to do better and never acknowledging yourself because you're seeking this validation from a parent that even if you get it today, it's your inner child that's seeking the validation back then, which you can't go back in the past and receive that validation. So even as an adult, you receive the validation, but it still doesn't fill that void because you have to heal from back then by doing some inner child work. So I know I added my own little personal stuff in there, but from that perspective, it makes perfect sense. Like it's a constant it's a constant thing, seeking that external validation. So really finding that validation within, and then doing the inner child work to comfort your inner child back when you were looking for that validation from a parent. It's powerful, powerful work. Like inner child work is so powerful. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of like those overachievers have experienced this. Okay. So if you're an overachiever, if you identify as an overachiever or you're a serial entrepreneur, make sure that you are taking time for self-care and to love on your inner child, to tell your inner child, good job, good work. And telling yourself, good job, and celebrating your wins is so powerful as an entrepreneur, especially in today's society where it's like go, 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 grind, 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 hustle, and do more. It's really important that you take time to love yourself, to love your inner child, and to celebrate your wins. Even if they're small, celebrate your wins because that is sending the message that you are celebrating you and you are proud of you. And it will do wonders for your mental and emotional health.
What do you do for energetic self-care? Life challenges us. However, we have tools to help us navigate the transitions, release trapped emotions, maintain positive energy, and expand to allow more joy and excitement. Abundant and Aligned Society is an energetic self-care accountability program that helps you go from stress and anxiety, fight or flight, to operating from a place of abundance and alignment. Go to niajae.com/society for more information and start vibrating higher.
The next one is diabetes. So this is type 2. The book says love starvation. That sounds really sad. But love starvation, they have a desperate longing to belong, yet they are intensely emotionally insulated. They experience social isolation, which places them in a self nurturing pattern. They believe that they don't deserve any better, so they withdraw into themselves and away from emotionally social involvement on any close or vulnerable level. They have turned to self maintaining love substitutes such as carbohydrates, sugar, pasta, and or their body has become insulin resistant. So, whew, that was a lot. This is, I feel like, a really deep one. So, because they feel this love starvation. So basically, it's saying like they don't feel worthy of love. So they withdraw into themselves to where they're self nurturing. So they're self soothing, they're self nurturing. Instead of becoming codependent on someone else, they're experiencing toxic independence. They only focus on themselves. So this is like a I don't need anyone kind of person. I got this kind of person, and they're not allowing anyone in to love them, to nurture them, to support them. And they usually, according to this is my understanding of it, my perspective, are emotional eaters. They're emotional eaters, so they go to the food that is like your feel better food. So like when you're sad, what do you go to? Ice cream, carbs, wine, beer. Like what are those foods that fill you up when you're experiencing an emotional void? And because of that overeating or poor diet, it will create an insulin resistance in their body. Okay. The last one is alcohol disorder. They have a deep self rejection and a strong sense of defeat, along with inner hostility and a sense of being utterly alone in a completely untrustworthy world with no sense of support. There is an emotional weakness and an inability to cope with life situations with a resulting never enough attitude. So, again, this is another deep one. This is another deep one. And like I said, I just wanted to give like quick overviews of these. And if there's something that you want me to expand on, I will definitely do so. But for me, this one is just dealing with the challenges of the world, not having a healthy manner to deal with challenges, to deal with triggers, to deal with trauma. And we've all experienced some form of trauma, but you don't have a healthy pattern or self-care regimen to be able to deal with the challenges of life. So you turn to something that is going to help numb out the pain, numb out any lack of self acceptance, numb out any trauma, any heaviness. You're just completely trying to numb it. So, that is a quick overview to give you an idea of how our emotions and our mental health impact our physical body. So, every single pain, tension, physical ailment, every ache, everything stems from something emotionally. So that is why it's so important to take care of your mental and emotional health. And even if you don't go to sound therapy sessions, obviously, I'm always talking about sound therapy. Even if you don't have a sound healer in your city or anything like that, meditating on your own. And I know a lot of people say, I can't meditate, but throw on a binaural beat or a guided meditation on YouTube. You can definitely just go out in nature and ground in that way. So, having some type of self care regimen where when you wake up in the morning, you have a routine to ground and center you. And when you're going through challenges, so here's the interesting thing. When people go through challenging times, rather than bump up their self care, they fall off. They're like, I'm so stressed, I can't go to yoga right now. You go to yoga when you are stressed. So like when you are stressed, when your schedule is crazy, when you are dealing with something difficult, that is the time to, I don't want to say force yourself, but that is a time to pick yourself up and go do the thing that's going to help you work through the challenges in a healthy manner. And usually we want to go to yoga when, we're feeling happy and we're feeling fit and we're feeling all fabulous, but you want to go to yoga, you want to lean on whatever healing modality or self-care regimen you have when things are hard, because that is going to help you deal with the challenges of life. And I think that a lot of people feel like once they get to a certain level, the challenges stop. They don't. The more responsibilities you have, the higher up you get in your business or your corporate job, the more friends you have, the older you get, the problems kind of grow as well. But it's all about learning how to handle them in a healthy manner. So there's no person in this world that has reached a certain level and all their problems stop. It's not how it works. So, really finding a self care regimen, a healing modality that works for you so you can handle life's challenges in a healthy manner. So, I hope you found value in this. If you know anyone that needs to hear this, definitely share this podcast episode with them. My objective is to have more emotional and mental health in today's society. I know that we are dealing with so much and things are happening so fast, and it seems like time is flying by. So, reminding people to pause, be still, take care of you, get back into your body, feel what's going on. So, when something doesn't feel good or doesn't feel right, you know how to check in and say, what does this mean? My right knee is bothering me. Let me send Niajae a message on Instagram and find out what right knee pain can be, so you can deal with the root cause. You can deal with the emotion behind it, or go to a sound therapy session, or reach out to your Reiki practitioner or massage therapist or talk therapist, whatever it is, so it's not being stored in your body, because we have the ability to heal ourselves, allowing your body to heal itself so you can feel your best and show up your best and live an abundant life. All right, guys. That is today's episode. Thank you so much for bearing with me through that serious conversation. All right, until next time, be decadent.
Thank you for tuning in to the Abundance Hack Show. I would love to hear from you. Leave your comments and questions, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our yummy episodes. Every time you leave a 5-star rating or review, I do my happy dance.